good morning and welcome back to American Truck Simulator. I'm David Steele and here's me truck. Today we're in a Mack. Oops, probably shouldn't drive from that perspective. Right, let's just jump back in the cabin. I think that's just safer all around. There we are, that's much better. Okay, well, we are just east of, I say just, we're east of Los Angeles and we're heading towards Arizona. So we're leaving California, but I did my bit for the California economy, so I topped up the tank not that long ago. Spent a bit of money on some fuel, and that's all good. So our trip today, we're hauling close to 42,000 pounds of, I think it's pressure tank, is that what they call it? Let's take a look. Yeah, pressure tank. And we're off to San Simon, Sunshine Crops, what a cool name for a farm. The Mack car I'm using, if you know your Macks, if you're a bit of a Mackaholic, you'll recognize that we have a silver bulldog on the front and not a gold one, which specifies it's not a pedigree. And all that means is we don't have a Mack engine and or drivetrain under the hood here. In fact, we have neither. We have an Eaton Fuller 10-speed, it's an overdrive transmission. And we have a Detroit Diesel Series 60. We've got a 12-litre here today. And that's rated 370 horsepower. That's a 1998 specification engine. The gearbox has a 3.7 final drive. And essentially, I've spec'd the truck for cruising at 65. And the DD60 or Series 60 is happy enough at 55 in top gear. We're doing maybe 1275 RPM, 1300 RPM. You wouldn't really want to run it that much lower. It gets a little bit unhappy. But I think maybe more importantly, it's doing 1500 revs at 65. And that's where this particular engine produces a lot of power. It's higher than its rated power at that speed. And that gives you the best chance to climb hills and all that kind of jazz. Now we need to stop somewhere up here. I'm getting close to end of my shift. Let's just check that again. What have we got? An hour and a half. I could have pulled in here. I probably should have done. I might regret not pulling in here, but we'll keep on going. We're really not far from Arizona, though. In fact, can we see it? Well, no. So we should give people a bit of space here. No, now I'm stuck. Alright, so great example of how not to do people traffic merging, and that is I didn't pull over in time, and then when I tried to, this white SUV was starting to crowd me, and I didn't really want to run into him or the traffic around me, so we ended up slowing down, which is fine. Don't want to do that if I can help it, but I also would rather not run into someone. As to how well the run has been so far, and well, let's see, yeah, we're actually about halfway through. I picked this up yesterday evening, drove for about an hour or so, and then took my first rest stop, and this is going to be the second. We'll arrive there tomorrow. As to how the Mack has done, it's been champion. I have no complaints about how this engine transmission combinations worked, and I enjoy the Mack. I always have since I first started playing around with the mod, or with modding in general. It's one of the first trucks I ever got. What's not to like? And I've given it this wonderful metallic, I say wonderful, I like it. It's a wonderful metallic cherry red colour. I'd almost call it lipstick red. But of course lipstick doesn't have to be red, and red doesn't have to be lipstick. So really nice colour, I like it. It looks great at dawn and dusk, but we'll get to see that maybe tomorrow morning, depending on my break. So yeah, really an enjoyable trip, and it's been a while since I've done a longer drive in American Truck Simulator. A couple of reasons for that. Mostly I just haven't felt inclined. And finding a bit of time to just, well, I'm going to say devote, yeah, but just to devote to a longer trip. This is going to be 900 odd miles. I don't plan on having everyone along for the ride right to the end. And likewise, I didn't start the trip with everyone on board because, yeah, it's a bit of a trek, really. California has seen quite a bit of work from SCS since the game was released, and last couple of years we've seen a lot of improvements to the state. And I have to say, it's gone from being a pretty boring state that ran amazing, because the less detail there is in the state, in the map, the faster the game runs, to running not quite as well, but it does look beautiful. Some parts more than others. I think we're really close to the border. What's my time doing? 20 minutes. Yeah, I may well. I think I'm going to go over my shift time, sadly. There's not much I can really do about that either, because I should have stopped an hour ago in game time, but I didn't, because why would I listen to my own advice, right? Yeah. I don't really want to get busted by the cops doing 70 or 65, so I'm just going to have to lump along and hope for the best. So hopefully everyone's doing well. And it's... yeah, what was that? I've lost my train of thought completely there. Yeah, I hope everyone's doing well. Curiously enough, the Interstate 10 runs all the way through Texas. I've driven in the Texas part in the real world. I think I've also driven it in California in the real world, but never combined those in the same trip. And here is a rest area. Yep, this will do. Colorado River, and I think this is right. This is the border, isn't it? Yes, it is. The state line. Okay. Right. We'll take this. A little bit of engine brake. Let's go ahead and do that. I'm going to manually downshift. There we go. And yeah, it's right around the corner. I'm good for motion lotion. Don't have quite a full tank, but I've got enough to not worry about it. Go ahead and do this. Now, really the point of today's video is I want to show off how pretty ATS looks at dawn. Let's pull in here, tell everyone where we're going. It's not going to be fun to maneuver a double out of these parking spots, but we might have to fudge that. I say fudge that, it might have to just skip that bit. We'll see. I'm going to take the first slot. We'll do that. Second, turn the lights off. Yeah, the colour scheme I've gone with today is red and chrome. I don't usually chrome up my trucks. I quite like the sort of fleet look. Fleet look being the one next to me, this Cascade, is not quite the fleet look, but it's close. Yeah, chrome does not get you home. Okay, let's see. I think we'll pop into the service station here. Let's go ahead and shut the engine off. Let's jump back into the cabin. So I've got the sleeper back here. It's a little snug compared to some of the more modern ones, but I like the Mack. Let's see, oh, we can actually go all the way in Mack. Just in case we forget what truck we're in. So we've got a vent up here, cubby holes, closet. Yeah, don't have a walk-in bath, shower, jacuzzi that I think some of the modern Volvos and Peterbilts come with. Right, well, I'm going to go ahead and yeah, I'll actually just take a break here. We'll be back. Oh goody, it's raining. That is not an oh goody, it's raining. Okay, let's use the remote start. Let's get my positional. Oh boy. Okay, this wasn't planned, but hey, I mean, what's the worst that happens, right? Turns out the worst that happens is you're in a thunderstorm. Right, well, let's hand wave, getting ready. Like so. Jump back into here. Let's check everything is good. I think so. turn the wipers on. Quick external check. Yeah, this is going to be a trip. Well, you know what? I suppose without further ado, I think in the real world we'd probably let the engine warm up a little bit, but I'm not going to worry too much about that. I don't need to do that in the game. Let's go ahead and back out of here and hopefully not make a complete mess of my trailers, which I think may already be starting. Let's take a look. Yeah. I'm not good at reversing anyway, but we'll try and see if we can do something with the reversing here. I might be onto something here. Maybe I haven't made a complete mess of it. Yeah, there we go. I made a mess of it. Okay. We're going to have to do a whole shunting backwards and forwards here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pause the recording. No point in everyone seeing me make a complete mess of this. I'll be right back when I'm on the way. Actually, that wasn't bad at all. I was able to just tuck in round the side and didn't have to do a 72-point turn with trailers, so I'm very happy with that. Alright, well, it's a little fast for a car park, David, for a parking lot, but we'll slow down. So I did quite a bit of work to my the game install, a couple of weeks ago in real life, and essentially cleaned up the install, went and visited every single truck just to look, make sure that there was no old data, and that required ran the console mode and just looked to see if there were any errors when I switched to a truck or moved around the interface. And quite a few of my trucks did have errors in them, and some of those seemed to be, you know, the license plate was looking for a font that wasn't there, and that was associated with the Alaska map. Now, it's not the Alaska map's fault. It's my fault, because what I did was I had the truck based in an Alaskan garage, and I then removed the Alaska mod and moved the truck but didn't visit it. So the license plate is still looking for the Alaska fonts, because they're not present in the game. Anyway, fixed all those. A couple of issues with missing engines and transmissions. I'm just going to pull in front of this big rig here. Like so. Very rough wow with my steering. Come on, David, pay attention. Yeah, so I fixed a couple of issues with some missing transmissions and engines, and that again is called in. That again is my fault. They were prototype engines I was playing around with, and I removed the engine definition from the mod I use, and didn't change the engine out. Well, the effect of those was transforming how well the user interface works, with a small effect to the rest of the game, and I'm very happy with it. It now runs a lot more like it should and like it used to. Okay, let's see how much we weigh. I'm gonna guess maybe 75,000 pounds. We'll check. Oh, 78.5. Okay, a little more than I thought. Right, let's get on the move. I mean, that would explain why, I mean, you don't expect a Mack car to be sort of quick, or at least, yeah, performant. This is doing okay. I mean, it's 370 horsepower, it's 1450 foot-pounds of torque. I'm breaking the speed limit here, but you can tell it has a bit of weight to it. Yeah, is he slowing down? Is he? I think he is. I think he's going to. He is now. Thank you, sir. There we go. So we're going up a hill. Okay. Well, that's going to put a bit of heat into the engine. It's still getting up to temperature. And it stopped raining, which is a shame in some ways. I was looking forward to seeing how well the game ran, but didn't notice any issues, so I'm good with that. Well, what I'm going to do now is wait for dawn, but it's midnight, so what time do I think we're going to get there? About 7 AM? Yeah, 7 AM. Okay, well I think I know what I'm going to do. We're going to get there very early. I'm going to go ahead and pause the recording. I'm going to set the cruise. It's at 55 right now. I'll get used to the speed, get used to how the truck's doing. I don't need to hurry, plenty of time. So I'll pause the recording and I'll be right back when it's getting a little brighter. We'll actually see a bit more than just driving along at night. So it'll be a time for me in the real world, but it'll be just a jiffy if you're watching this on YouTube. I'll be right back. Hey, welcome back. A period of time has passed in the real world that is not reflected in the video. Well, we're a couple of hours out. In fact, we might even be a little bit less than that. No, we're actually exactly 2 hours out. And dawn is fast approaching. And I wanted to jump back in. It's been a fairly pleasant, quiet night of driving, or morning of driving to be fair. There's not been that much traffic, which is always good. And we're starting to see this beautiful cherry colour coming through in the Mack. She has performed just peachy, I think is about the best way I can describe that. A bit of a California term for you there. Not much to really comment on or criticize. It's you know, I've started the cruise at 65. Right now I'm still on the way up to 65. Yeah, she's done it fine. Hard to judge what fuel consumption's going to be. 65 miles an hour, 1500 revs, with 42,000 pounds is probably going to be maybe 6.5. It's a 12.7 litre engine. That has an impact, but it doesn't feel like I'm not watching the needle. This does have a fairly big tank, but yeah, it's been just a pleasant kind of trip and perfect for those. Well, in my case, I just wanted just to go and ride out at night somewhere. So, as far as how the game's been performing, yeah, it's a lot better after I cleared up any of the corrupt data in the save file. Now, I speculate that the reason for it struggling to perform is because the game engine's writing a whole bunch of errors, perhaps, or maybe just couldn't perform certain functions, and now it can. But yeah, it's been a lot smoother. Now I'm still using lossless scaling. I'm still running the game engine at 30 frames per second, and right now with the graphical settings mostly cranked up to maximum, the GPU is reporting it's about 50% in use. So in theory, that points towards it could potentially do 60 frames per second if the GPU were the limit. But in terms of other aspects of my hardware, depending on what exactly is going on, I've got a CPU core or a virtual core cranked to 100%. And I don't think the game will do 60 frames a second. Now it might do 45 or 50 or 55, but I don't think it's going to do 60. I'm not going to worry myself with that though too much, to be fair. I'm very happy with how it rolls along at 30 frames per second. And I did see some criticism of how responsive the game is at 30 frames per second, and yeah, there is a small difference to the response. But I'm driving a big rig, and so I don't think it's really as critical. Or it's noticeable, but it's very much in keeping with the character of what you're doing here today. You know, I'm hauling 78,500 pounds of overall vehicle. I don't expect it to respond the same way that a car, or much less a sports car, does. So from that perspective, I don't have an issue running this game at 30 frames per second. Now some games, yeah, they are, I don't want to say they're unplayable at 30 frames per second, because I'm not really a frames per second snob, but they are a lot harder to cope with. If that bus is going, or RV is going incredibly quickly. Wow. Yeah, so things like Wreckfest, much better at 60 or more frames a second. I don't need I don't like to run that at less than those speeds, but it's a game where you want your vehicle to be responsive. Less so with this. Looks like fairly enjoyable last little bit of the trip coming up. Pretty quiet road. Let's see, how far away am I? Just 30 miles. Well, I'm actually going to arrive a little later than originally planned, but I kind of expect that because we're not capable of doing 75 along the interstate. Or I should say, this Mack might be capable of doing 75 on the interstate, but the gearing is not really set up for that. That's to be about 1700 revs. It'll do it, but it's not going to be as comfortable. Oh, speed limit's changed. Drop down to 45. Excuse me, if I needed fuel, I could have picked some up here. What's that on the left? Is that just a dust storm? I've never noticed that before. I guess it is. I guess. Again, now that might be new in the game, or possibly more likely I've just never noticed it before. And I have a suspicion that SCS add a lot more to the game than they disclose. Okay, get back in your lane, David. That looks just like a dust storm, I think. Okay, get back in my lane. So, I don't know how to describe. It's very fulfilling just to, I guess, hunker along and see things that you either never noticed before or have been added and you're not sure. So another reason why I enjoy this game so much. Anywho, here's the farm we're heading to. So, go ahead and put some engine brake on. Go. Sunshine crops. Looks like the farmer's protected some vehicles from the dust, it looks like. Or is that hay? No. No, those look like vehicles. Okay. Well, we should get a simple drop here today. The double, it doesn't let you to do the whole reversing thing. Plus, they've probably heard about my driving. So let's go ahead here and do that. Yeah, pretty easy. Right. Well. So, overall feelings on the dreamy red and chromy machiny. It's a Mack. I like it. It's a Detroit Diesel 60. Usually not my favorite engine, but I like them from time to time. Wow, big yawn. Yeah, I don't usually do the whole chrome look thing, but I think it works here. I even got a chrome front bumper because I could. Well, there we are. That was smoother from the YouTuber's perspective because you didn't see all of the nighttime driving, but that was a very smooth trip. I'm very happy with that. I really don't have any cause for complaint. And so let's see how well we did. So 938 miles, pretty robust trip length, and we burned 146.4 gallons of fuel, so that's about 6.5 miles per gallon. So I wasn't a million miles away with what I thought we'd burned. And now all up, very capable truck, very capable engine transmission combination. Mileage is okay. It's not the same as your MX-11s and the aero trucks, but I don't expect it to be. And this is a beautiful looking truck, so I'm happy with that. Right, well, hopefully you got something from this and you'll like what you saw. If you'd rather I have done a little bit more of the night driving, let me know in the comments below. I struggle to justify night driving in a video because really it's dark. There's not much you can really see. But let me know. If you like it, go ahead and click like. It always helps. If you thought it sucked, go ahead and click dislike. Ideally, let me know what you didn't like so I can try not to do the same thing again. But most of all, have a splendid day. Thanks so much for hanging out with me. And hopefully, I'll see you the next time. Goodbye.